whatever we do, change is coming. It's coming with the implosion of our Imperium, and it's coming with the rapid degradation of the ecosystem itself. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. It's how we cope with this change. Will we respond rationally? Will we learn to speak to the world with a new humility and recreate structures within our own communities for sustainability? Or will we continue to live in illusion? And in a way, it's a matter of awakening ourselves to our new reality and responding to it.
Well. Welcome to another episode of the best worst show on the internet. I'll be your host today. My name is Manuel Chavez the Third or the Turd, depending on how you know me. Thank you to CV for the bits, a whole 7 of them. I don't even know what that's worth, but it's got to be something. Something's better than nothing. Good day. How are you doing today? I am doing okay. It is another day here in the coldest nation in the world, because the Polar Vortex is here. Well, allegedly, there's some kind of Polar Vortex that be happening where, you know, things be freezing. Texas is going to be freezing. Things are going to be going and happening. It's going to be crazy, but that's not even the coolest thing that's going on. There was also something going down with Carrie Lake today. Some kind of trial over election shit or something in Arizona. I mean, it's amazing that it made it to trial, but, you know, whatever, dude. I heard that fool from Ukraine, the Nazi, what's it called, sympathizer himself, the guy that's got the Azov battalion of Nazis fighting to protect their country or whatever. Yeah, that guy, he was at the White House today. Yeah, he be meeting with Joe Biden. And it's just like, wow, what a very, very strange turn of events. So, yeah, we'll have a couple of different interesting things to talk about at least today. Also, big news in the FTX case. You know, they're extraditing Sam Bankman-Fried, the dude that stole billions, you know, the new Bernie Madoff, the new biggest scammer that ever existed. Yeah, there's more news into that besides the fact that he actually got put out. We'll talk about that. You know, his little girlfriend with all the gangbanging or whatever that allegedly happened. Yeah, well, a lot more news is coming out on that, so it's nice to see every one of you that decided to, you know, drop yourselves into this abysmal garbage that we call a show, and I hope that you guys are ready. You're ready, because I'm ready. I got news. And the first bit of news just made me laugh because we did talk about Title 42 a couple of days ago and how a court said that Title 42 is illegitimate and they put a complete stay on the order of them rescinding that. And Joe Biden has been crying, saying, we need to let all these illegal immigrants into this place. How am I supposed to get elected? Ah! But, you know, it's brought up the question as to, you know, whose the borders are. Who's in charge of the border? Well, it's obviously Vice President Kamala Harris. And, the White House is still basically unable to describe what exactly Kamala Harris has been doing to, you know, fix this whole immigration crisis. But as it seems right now, she hasn't actually done jack shit. I don't even think she's actually visited the border yet, which is something that's funny, you know? Like, I've been to the border since the time that I've been to the border last time, and I've still been to the border more times than Kamala Harris, which is pretty insane considering that it's pretty easy to get there or whatever. I mean, I don't know why you would want to go there. It's just sad. Just a sad place to be. But, you know, that's the big question here is Title 42, the Remain in Mexico policy, all that jazz. That's supposed to still be happening, and it's not happening, and that's a big question. See, you know, immigration back in my grandpa's day was like you fought for a country, they gave you citizenship, they didn't care what country you were a part of previously, which is, I guess, the way that it should have been. But, you know, we live in a new time, and, you know, we do have actual immigration systems and things that people could use. But you know what? Hey, fuck it. We don't need to do any of that shit. Just bring them all over, dude. We can take all of them. They can take all of the shitty jobs that nobody wants, and then in the future, they're going to be the ones that are repairing all of the robots and shit while all of us are just floating around on our stupid little hover cars and shit, drinking soup out of straws and shit. So, yeah. I mean, it could be something. And I mean, think about it. There's like a polar vortex thing happening. What happens during, you know, like if Texas is freezing, what happens to all those people crossing through the border? Do they stop coming over? Do they keep coming over? Do they just bring extra jackets? I have a lot of questions about this because, I mean, that's the big ipso facto, whatever the shit that's happening today is that, yeah, you know, the White House press secretary still can't explain to us what Kamala Harris is doing about that border, and the border is still wide open, and it's supposed to be closed, and it's been, like, mandated by the court at least a couple of times now, and still, the criminals that are in power just decided that, yeah, you know what, fuck the police, we ain't gonna listen to them, we don't like what they're going to do anyway, but whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. So I guess we could get into the polar vortex because I keep seeing more shit about the polar vortex. They're talking about it. Well, it wasn't polar vortex. They were just saying it was going to be like a winter storm, and now it's like, I don't know, half of the United States, and it's coming in surprisingly strong. And I mean, there's a little video that I actually had found about this polar vortex. So like, I'll pull it up for you. It was from 9 News, NBC. But I think it explains what's happening rather well.
The polar vortex is a swirling batch of extremely cold air over the North Pole.
This is what's
happening. The polar
happening.
jet stream surrounds it and usually keeps most of the vortex contained to the north. But when that jet stream weakens or slows, it allows the vortex to spill down into the southern U.S. The cold outbreak coming on Thursday is unusually strong. The main reason is the difference in temperature between the mid-latitudes where we live and the Arctic. The lesser the difference, the weaker the vortex. And it's warmer than normal in the Arctic and colder than normal, at least lately, in the mid-latitudes. That's helping to slow the polar vortex. The slower speed means it spills down further into the U.S., which will lead to record-breaking cold from Montana to Alabama. In Denver, Thursday's record low is -25. That's also the coldest temperature ever recorded in the month of December. While that record is not likely to break, it wouldn't be too surprising either. The high temperature on Thursday is also likely to be below freezing. The last time Denver had a high temperature that was in the negatives was nearly 8 years ago. It could be below zero in Denver for 33 consecutive hours and below freezing for 65 consecutive hours. Those are very unusual streaks, however, there are no official records for those stats. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen.
Winter
9
is
News.
coming.
When cold like this hits the Denver Zoo,
Dude, are there gonna be like fucking White Walkers coming out and shit like that? Like, or is there gonna be like weird glowy-eyed monsters and shit coming down? You know, was J.R.R. Martin telling us our fucking future and shit? Is the cold dead North gonna come alive and start murdering all of us? That sucks, man. I was really hoping that we'd find some kind of ancient weapons platform or something like that in our Antarctica that we could use to defend the planet from, you know, fucking bug monsters or something. But as far as I know, people are making kind of a big deal about it, and I think that you should too, you know, at least be prepared if you live in one of the states where this is going to adversely affect you, meaning that it's going to be colder than normal, and you're probably not going to be able to drive around because your dumbass doesn't know how to drive on the snow. And trust me, I know exactly what it's like to be that dumbass that doesn't know how to drive on snow. But then again, I was like the trial by fire guy because Cherie was having me drive her around in the snow and shit. And I'm like, bitch, I don't know where I'm going. I'm in the snow. This is so stressful, you know? But it's all right. We made it through. Now I drive around in the snow all the time. Now I just know when I look at things and there's snow everywhere, I just kind of like, you know, remember what it looks like when it didn't have snow. And then I apply that to what I see now. And then, like, my brain can overlay the two over each other, and then I could be all like, yeah, that's probably not a place that I want to go and, like, smack something or whatever. Yeah. You know, you got to build up the mental maps, right? You know, the more that you're around and you're taking in information, you may feel like you don't have enough space in your brain, but then you got to remember that you don't remember things with just your brain. Have you ever had a pain in the ass friend? Why is he a pain in your ass? It's because the memory of them resides in your buttocks. And that's why it hurts sometimes. And I know that sounds pretty fucking crazy, but it's a little more logical and scientific than I would like to lead on about. But what does that have to do with colossal snow core vortexes? Well, I'm not exactly sure. But what I am sure of is that you probably shouldn't be traveling, right? Like, this is one of those times where they tell you that you shouldn't travel because you have no fucking idea what's going to happen. So if you're planning on taking a flight somewhere and you're in the affected area, or the plane that you're flying in happens to be flying across the affected area, I would have to say that I would maybe not want to deal with that and, you know, use that waiver that you probably already got to get yourself out of that situation. Yeah, because, like, 30 below zero is not fun. 60 below zero is really not fun. I mean, it's a little bit easier if you're in like a big rig truck or something like that, because all of that extra weight definitely helps you move through all that snow for sure. But when you're in a smaller car and you're in or if you're driving like a rear-wheel drive car, man, you're gonna be fucked, dude. You're gonna be fucked. If you have a truck, you might be okay. But then again, if you're one of those foofy motherfuckers that's got the lifted truck with the really skinny tires and the big ass rims and stuff, I mean, you're basically in the same boat as somebody driving like a little tiny car. Like, the person in the little tiny car probably still gonna have it a little bit better than you, because they're gonna be smart enough to stick to the roads that have been plowed and not on the roads that have not been plowed. But, you know, dudes in big trucks with their big ass rims and their little tiny tires or whatever, those dudes are just gonna start plowing through the snow like it ain't no fucking problem. And real quick, they're gonna realize that, yeah, you probably shouldn't drive 75 miles an hour on a snow-covered road. You might want to drive a little bit slower. Sure, you might have four-wheel drive and shit, but that's not gonna really fucking help you when you're going fucking sideways, right? You're going sideways. And you know it's crazy when the BBC, the Brits out there, because they know about snow out there in the Britans. You know what? They can fuck with snow. They fuck with snow every year. They know about it. They know what it's all about. These are the crazy people that don't have fucking air conditioning in their homes. They're just all like, oh, it's like an 80, 90 degree day outside. We don't have any AC. Just turn a fan on. And you're just like, guys, like, fucking AC unit, it's not that fucking cheap. I mean, there's people that live in Alberta where it's -50 all the time. And you know what? They survive. What do they got? They got studded tires on their car. They drive slow because, you know what? Ain't nobody want to die in the snow. And, I mean, shit. And if you want to be really smart, you could be like Zombie President and get an oil-filled radiator, although they're trying to get rid of those sometimes. Those things are very, very good at heating entire rooms for not a lot of power, although they do take a while for them to heat up. I usually just use like a quartz heater. That's what I use because it seems to work pretty well. And that's just because we don't have any other stuff like, what do they call that? Natural gas. Yeah. Corpse snow is not as funny as snow and angels. Yeah, you're right. No. So yeah, you don't want to be a corpse in the snow. So what are the main things to get? Well, number one, you probably gonna want to get some snow chains. Yeah, get some snow chains for your car. And since you waited this long to get them, it's gonna be hard as fuck to find them, okay? Don't get snow socks. No, don't get snow socks. I know you went on Amazon and you fucking saw some snow socks and you want some fucking YouTube videos about them and shit. But those things are meant for like, oh, I'm gonna go 10 miles, maybe. And then, outside of that, you don't want to use any of that. Ultimately, they tell you, yeah, get snow tires. That's probably going to be your best bet. But it's expensive to get new rims and tires and have them swapped and blah, blah, blah. We get it. Just make sure that your car or truck or whatever the fuck you drive has a full tank of gas. And, very important, very, very, very fucking important, when you get into your vehicle and start the car, just start it. Don't put the fucking defroster on. Don't crank up the heater and shit, because guess what? It's not gonna work instantly. I mean, if it does, there's probably a bigger fucking problem with your fucking car, right? So, just wear layers. Make sure if you gotta go somewhere, drive safely, and invest in a good snow like scraper / broom / whatever they make them. It's just exactly what this guy's holding in his hand. One end, it's got a fucking ice scraper. On the other end, it's got a brush. And usually they have some kind of squeegee on it too. And that's probably the most important piece of equipment that you probably want, because you just brush the snow off of your car. Yes, brush it off the top, you lazy piece of shit. I'm looking at you. I fucking seen you driving, and then you gotta slam on the brakes and all the fucking snow comes over your fucking windshield. And then you're like, ah! So yeah, don't be a lazy fuck. Clean your fucking car. It's so easy. You just brush it off. You don't got one of these cool things? Get a broom. Any broom will do, right? Just brush it off. Takes like 2 seconds. Just shoot. I'm not telling you that it's got to be Michelin star clean, dog. Just push the snow off. How hard is that? What? You're 80? You don't want to push the snow off? You're 80. You're not supposed to be fucking driving. Go back in the house, Grandma. Make me some fucking cookies. You see how that works? Okay? Yeah. Yeah, it's easier than brushing, though. Yeah, it's easier to brush it until you gotta fucking pull your car over because you got in an accident because you rear-ended somebody. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be everywhere, Like, should you invest in heated socks and heated clothing? Probably not. Just get, some warm shit. Get one of those cool-ass puffy jackets that you see, people in ski towns wearing because, that shit's warm. It's going to keep you warm and break the wind when it's wind chill 50 below and everything's freezing and you have no idea how to live. Trust me, I know what it's like. I've been around, It snows where I'm at now. I've been hardened by the snow. So, I mean, this polar vortex thing probably is going to be a big issue for some people. Maybe it's going to be a big issue for people. I don't see it as being like a huge one, though. It's not like a big one, right? It's going to be a big one. I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that you guys don't like crash your car. Don't go driving around in the snow and crash your car. Oh, dude, you got a 4x4 truck, bro? You got some fucking 33-inch super swampers on that bitch? Because if you don't, slow the fuck down. Yeah. Either way, you'll be fine, probably. most likely. Although, just make sure you got some extra food and stuff. And then, it's frozen outside, so if the power goes out or whatever, you could just put the food outside. It's not going to go bad. It's fucking cold. Use your brain there. Use that fucking brain. Use your brain, you turd. Yeah. So, what's the next big thing that we should be talking about today? I guess this is a story from yesterday, which is, we've been getting lots of really, really interesting drops from the Twitters. Yes, the Twitter files have been giving us some very good information that we kind of already knew and were talking about many years ago that has now just been redoubled as like, hey, it's a fact. So, like those facts that I was talking about a couple of years ago that I had all the inside information on that people told me I was full of shit. Well, yep, new documents have been released from Twitter that show that not only was the Pentagon utilizing specified accounts from CENTCOM, they asked them to be whitelisted so that they could be utilized for online influence campaigns abroad and locally, because obviously you can't just tweet something and it's only going to stay overseas. It's obviously going to end up in the United States too, because that's how fucking Twitter works. So, yeah. Did you know that Twitter and the intelligence agencies of the world, mostly the United States though, were colluding together to psyop motherfuckers, and then people are trying to tell me I'm gonna get in trouble for starting QAnon or whatever? Like, seriously? I'm not even the big guy in the field. I'm like that little I'm a little fat shithead on a laptop that these guys are just like, he's never gonna be able to do that. And yeah, we shit on the IC community and we made a way better psyop than they could have ever even dreamed of. And they're still trying to make shit like that. And I mean, look at this. At the same time that we're trying to get rid of regular ass people for believing stupid shit online, the fucking government was literally making people believe stupid shit online. This is ridiculous. Honestly, I'm just kind of fucking flabbergasted by this because, I had a stupid idea. I told it to a bunch of fucking intelligence community types or whatever, and most of them laughed at me, but there was one fool in there that listened, and the one fool that listened, well, you see what fucking happens, right? It doesn't have to be a big idea. It doesn't even have to be a great idea. I got ideas for all day. I can make you a bazillionaire if you really, really wanted it. It's just that you're still going to have to, do the shit, right? You're going to actually have to do the work, which is going to be really difficult. But you know what? Guys like me, we can make it easy for you, give you all the details required in order to, increase the probability of success in your endeavor. But eventually, your endeavor is always just going to be the same thing. Your endeavor. Yes. So, the United States was running influence operations in Yemen, Syria, Iraq, Kuwait, and basically way beyond. And they're probably running it in way many other places. So it's like, these aren't accounts that are openly stated to be affiliated with the United States government. No. These are sock accounts. These are fake ass accounts that they're using to do whatever it is that they think that they could do with some fake ass account. They haven't discovered that, hey man, if we go to fucking 4chan, those shitheads are just bored. And they're gonna fucking let this thing ride for at least 2-3 weeks before they get bored with it and start looking at something else. So, if you can keep those people engaged, man, I'll tell you what, man, you get all kinds of shit, dude. I mean, just look what happened. I mean, the postulation was that, you could use 4chan to do all kinds of crazy shit, and it's the center of every big conspiracy for a reason, and we just proved to everybody the reason as to why. And it's you people. And I don't mean like every single one of you out there. I know you motherfuckers aren't out there just sitting on 4chan or Pull or B or R, just trolling. I know that's not you. That's what Taylor Swift does, though. That's what Taylor Swift does, though. Which is, now if you won't know why Taylor Swift is so popular, it's because she's on 4chan. She's on 4chan. Her popularity is bigger than anyone else's. They don't even make fun of her over there on 4chan. Because they scared. Anyways, so intelligence communities having unfettered access to these different platforms with real information coming from CENTCOM, going to Twitter, saying, hey, thanks, it's sure tough to do web ops when you can't tweet. Yeah, hey guys, we're just trying to run operations online, but we need you guys to, like, unfuck our account because, like, you know, why did you do this to us? Why did you do this to us? We're trying to overflow the Islamic State and turn down terror operations using Twitter. You know, I never thought that I would actually say some shit like that. Like, oh yeah, sorry, U.S. intelligence agent, you need your Twitter account back because we accidentally limited you during your online operations. My bad. Yes. So, on that specific email, there was 52 accounts that were actually listed, and they asked for priority service for 6 of the accounts. Wow. So, not only were they, like, really trying to get shit done, they were really trying to get shit done. That's pretty crazy. So, one of the accounts was Yemen Current, an account used to broadcast announcements about U.S. drone strikes in Yemen, announced at the same time, which has now been deleted. And they emphasized that the U.S. drone strikes were accurate and killed terrorists and not civilians. Wow. Wow. So just for, like, that little operation alone, they had 52 different accounts, and then, like, Yemen Current sounds, like, really fucking official, doesn't it? Yeah, it does sound pretty official, doesn't it? Yes, it does. So, wait a minute. It's okay for them to do this stuff when they're doing it overseas, but we're not allowed to believe that they're not doing it domestically, right? But then, we gotta break back and be all like, but then, wait a minute, didn't we find out that organizations like the Proud Boys and the 3%ers and, what was the other one, the Oath Keepers were infested? Yes, the word is infested with people adjacent to some kind of government operation or job or whatever, sometimes still acting as you. Or do you not see what not see what we're trying to say? See, yeah, it's easy for them to run accounts and shit like that for the overseas shit, but if you think or believe that they're not doing it for the domestic shit, well, I got some shit to sell you that's fake. That's what I got for you. But essentially, it's the same thing happening with the Oath Keepers and all these other groups. We have government agents that are playing both sides in these operations. And if we saw how deep the tendrils of the octopus of evil go, well, you could kind of see that we're just seeing the Twitter side of things, right? We still haven't seen the Facebook, the Google, and all the rest of them, which are going to be far more insidious. You and I both know that. And on top of all of that, how many of those people, those big accounts that you follow that are tweeting about shit are actually just like fucking United States agents that are like categorizing and cataloging you? You know? Operations like We Are Change and Luke Radowski, you know, like, why do these foreigners all of a sudden come to the United States and become very popular, even though they have no evidence? They just have internet articles. Wait, that's the same thing that I have, but their credibility is way bigger than mine. It's super weird, super weird, super weird. So, when you look at these people and you see how they operate online, you have to start associating yourselves to the likely individuals that are going to have the closest proximity to anybody that's going to be considered government-y. Because that's the way this sort of thing works. You know, there's collusion inside of Twitter to do a lot of things, censor Americans. At the same time, they're utilizing these platforms to run influence operations on United States citizens and people of other countries. And it makes a lot more sense when they actually have a thought-out framework, which is what we've been described in not so uncertain terms. So why, though? Why? Why do they do it? Well, they do it because it's control of the operation. It's control of influence. they have these people operating in so many different areas and venues, and anytime that you see somebody going up and getting way too big for their own britches, you have to understand that it's because those people have either A, already sold out, or B, are getting paid to do whatever it is that they do. You know, how do these guys afford RVs and all this other stuff and to be able to do this? Is because they're getting funding. And where are they getting funding from? Oh, they're getting it from their subscribers and they're buying this and that. That's all horseshit, dude. That is horseshit. Horseshit. You know, where's all this money come from? Well, apparently we invented straight out the crack of our buttocks. And yes, the Senate is still looking to push forward on that $1.7 trillion spending bill. Yeah, the one that's 4,000 pages that nobody's really even read yet. That one that they're already forcing or trying to force everybody to fucking vote on. Well, if you think about it, $1.7 trillion is about 13% of the actual deficit that we currently have, which is $31 trillion. So, you know, if you add $1.7 trillion to $31 trillion and then you get the percentage or whatever, yeah, 13%, which is quite large considering they want to add another 13% to the debt. Because fuck it, why not? And in this bill, for what some people have read, is that there's like money in there for other countries that aren't even United States citizens and have no fucking connection to the operation of the government, but they're still trying to give them, you know, like money for transgender studies in Pakistan and shit like that, which is insane, right? In this bill, apparently there's even money in there earmarked associated to going after the January 6th defendants that have been over in DC Gitmo now for God knows how long, and still have barely been able to run through any of those motherfuckers. So the mammoth spending bill that we're all waiting for, just in the same time that we're all going to be dealing with this massive polar vortex, we're still getting Congress and the Senate trying to hustle us for another $1.7 trillion year-end spending packages before leaving Washington for the year. So it's basically like they got to get that done or we're going to be going into government shutdown mode, which is crazy. The government's been shut down since Joe Biden's been the president. I mean, look at the border, look at the gas prices. These guys have fucking been checked out the entire fucking time. And shit's been going bad and worse. I mean, what the fuck? Oh, whoa, gas is a little bit cheaper right now. Gas gets cheaper every year around this time of the year. Are you fucking kidding me? Get out of here with that shit. Get out of here with that shit. You lies. Go fucking watch your Rachel Maddow somewhere else, you dickless shit waffle. Anyways, including the pastel of conservatives, one senior senator who has slammed the fast-paced spending debate as legislative barbarism and extortion. Republican leaders are hoping the proverbial scent of jet fumes calling senators home, combined with the threat of snowstorm that will blanket half the country, will deliver a holiday miracle. The final passage of the bill as soon as Wednesday, which is, yeah, they're probably not going to really make it or whatever. So I think that they should probably break it down and do a little bit more work and, you know, start passing it in smaller, more manageable pieces that only really are associated to keeping the government running, and then they can go fuck off with all of this omnibus spending garbage where they just try to fucking pack it full of everything. Well, we have to pass it because we need this one thing, but it pays for all these 30 things that you guys don't give a fuck about. But I don't want to tell you about that. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it's been working, and it's stupid. It's just, they should never do that. Like, this would be one of those situations where we're like, nah, senators, you guys gotta break this up. You gotta vote it on in smaller parts, and you guys can't leave the fucking Capitol until you're fucking done doing it. And we're gonna fucking start a whole polar vortex and shut down all the flights and stuff. So, y'all got time. Figure it out. Get the fucking chop the fat. Go do your actual job out there and stop giving us this garbage where you're like, oh, we're just gonna like vote on it for like a gigantic bill, and the clock is ticking. I mean, who cares if the clock's ticking? Let the fucking government shut down. What do I care? I don't even care. Does it affect me? I mean, allegedly it affects me, but honestly, these people don't fucking work anyway, so fuck it, dude. They Twitter up in this bitch, dude. They Twitter up in this bitch. Like, why so much? We don't need that much. It's not even necessary. Y'all could come back with half of that. Fucking a quarter of that. And then that would make sense for like a government spending bill if it just was the fucking government, right? I'd give them $700 billion. That's what I would say. Yeah, okay, get rid of the trillion, $700 billion. Only stuff that needs to be in there is the stuff that needs to be in there. Now, when I say needs to be in there, I mean the stuff that the government needs in order to keep running. All of this Pakistan shit, January 6th shit, any of this other shit, this shit does not need to be in there. How simple is this? I mean, I thought it was pretty fucking simple, but it's not. But very, very weird when you really think about that. They had another little gag to play. Yeah, another little gag to play. And their big gag was the fact that they brought Zelensky to the United States to have a little meet-ski with old Biden-Rooney. I mean, they had to like game plan and discuss the whole Ukraine debacle because obviously the Biden family has been embedded with the Ukrainian politics and philosophies for a long time since they were running some very illicit businesses out there, according to Hunter Biden and all of the copious amounts of real information that came from his laptop. But yes, his first trip outside of Ukraine since the invasion began, Zelensky decided to meet up with U.S. President Joe Biden in Congress to make a plea for even more financial support. Yes, we're grateful for the United States support, but it's not enough. It is a hint. It is not enough. Oh, wow. I need more money. We need more money to overthrow the Russians, the evil invaders. Give us more of your United States capital dollars. We need more Hellfire missiles and Pumas. Yeah. So, if you think about it, I do believe that this is associated with this because, you know, why would he be talking to Congress? Oh, right, because Congress is working on a $1.7 trillion deal. So Congress has to know, yeah, you guys got to get good with spending this much money because we're about to put you guys in another $10 trillion worth of debt because we need more money. You got to keep giving us money. As long as these stupid Americans keep giving us money, we'll keep making fake war with Russia. It's going to be great. It'll be the end of all end. I mean, it's crazy, but that's actually kind of strange. You know, they're talking about strength, talking about having all this other crap, but essentially, this is all just a big push to get the 1.7 trillion through so that they can go back and do another 40 billion, 100 billion, 300 billion, $1 trillion. Like, that's exactly what people are always saying isn't happening, yet it's happening right in front of our fucking faces. Right in front of our fucking faces. So, yeah, maybe that's why Nancy Pelosi was saying all those senators needed to be there secretly because, oh, they were having Zelensky come in. He's a great man fighting for freedom. He's totally not a gay actor or anything like that. That was on that played the president on TV, that became the real president of the country. Yeah, that shit's so fake, dude. Like, shit's so fake. It's just ridiculous. Like, you know, the Russians are real, and they're definitely invading, but the whole situation is fake as fuck. Fake as fuck. So, the December emergency, an omnibus crisis, followed by a polar vortex with a little smatterino of some other shit, some Twitter shit. Yeah, this is great. It's lovely, lovely, lovely. So let's shift over to news about Sam Bankman-Fried and his failed company FTX, the biggest crypto scam that ever was. And they say that they have just over $1 billion in cash at a creditor meeting, which is very interesting because, wow, that doesn't seem to be very close to what they're supposed to have. But hey, $1 billion in cash is actually not bad. It's hard to get $1 billion in cash, I'll tell you that right now. But then again, remember, that's customer funds and all this other shit. So, like, who knows if somebody's going to even get a piece of that fucking $1 billion pie. But yeah, they're still trying to claw back hundreds of millions of dollars in cash from bank accounts all over the place. But it is what it is. But that's not even the big piece of news from the FTX thing. It's actually being reported in the Wall Street Journal that old Caroline Ellison, associate of FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried, has pled guilty. That's right, pled guilty to criminal charges in association to her, I guess, involvement in the biggest crypto scam that ever was. And let us not forget that her dad was the guy that used to or is still in the SEC, right? The Securities and Exchange Commission. So obviously, she's getting some information from her parents on how to deal with this one because they're going to get their little girl out of this. She didn't do anything wrong. But yes, two associates of Bankman-Fried have pled guilty to their roles that contributed to the cryptocurrency exchange's collapse and are cooperating with federal investigators. And one of them is Caroline Ellison from Alameda Research. And the other one is Gary Wang, FTX's former chief technology officer, who actually also pled guilty to offenses that were similar to the ones that Samuel Bankman-Fried is now under extradition for to the United States, where he's in fact going to the exact same prison that none other than your boy Jeffrey Epstein totally killed himself at. Telling you what, bro. What? That's right. They're sending Bankman-Fried to. Well, it's being reported by Wendy something or other. Wendy Steele, Wendy Dumbass. I can't remember or whatever. But, I'll try to find some deets on that one. But yeah, it looks like this thing might be getting wrapped up a little bit quicker than everybody thought. And Mr. Bankman-Fried and all those fucking interviews and stupid things that he said over the last couple of weeks are probably going to come in really crank right down his back end, like that cum shot that he got from that dude that was banging his girl or whatever. I'm just keep making the gangbang jokes. I can't stop. So it's just like, if you think about it, this is convenient, very convenient in a lot of ways, because we can very quickly see from the very beginning of this is that this is the very well-connected family. And it could have been easy to say that Caroline Ellison was going to start singing because she wants immunity, because she probably had the largest role or one of the larger roles here. But Gary Wang is the one that actually seems to be even more interesting, because a lot of people said that this dude didn't even exist. And if he doesn't exist, how the fuck did he plead guilty to criminal charges? How is he cooperating with the government? That doesn't make any sense. Y'all are dumb as fuck. So, now that we see these things are coming down the line, Gary Wang was the one that put in the secret backdoor and all this other stuff. So, like, ultimately, the most fraudulent stuff should be falling upon him. But the fact that these two have already sang, and this is the basis for why they're coming after Bankman-Fried, it seems like within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be seeing them criminal charges, a lot more unsealed indictments and all that stuff. And you know how much you motherfuckers love unsealed indictments or whatever. Those QAnon people love that. They're sealed indictments. Yeah, the fuck out of here. So, ultimately, it's sad because, like, this has really affected the cryptocurrency market, I think, in a pretty big way. I mean, it's put a lot of downturn, I guess. I mean, people that were already in crypto knew that it was, you don't put your money in exchanges and you don't trust little dipshits with fucking poofy hair and shit. But, like, have you seen the creator of Ethereum? Like, that dude picks his nose and, like, wipes it on the fucking wall in a goddamn live stream. So, like, these are not the these are not the greats that you think they are, right? You know, Sam Bankman-Fried clearly knew that he was doing wrong and did it anyway. And now all of his associates are saving their own skins, and they're gonna fucking hang his ass out to dry. So, you know, Mini Madoff is what he's gonna say. Except for he's bigger than Madoff. They're gonna say that he pulled the Bankman-Fried. Yeah, they pulled the Bankman, dude. Oh yeah, dude. Oh, he was like, how big was he? Was he like Madoff? Or was he like fucking Bankman? I mean, seriously, the only person in this entire situation that is excited is Madoff, because now he's gonna be like, fuck, finally, somebody fucking beat me. They're gonna name shit after him now. Yeah. And they really are. The Bankman. I like that. The Bankman. The Bankman. So, you know, that's fine. So, I guess the next thing that we should probably be talking about would be the unfortunate trial of Carrie Lake's credibility in the court of Arizona. Wait, nope, that's not what's happening. It's for all the marbles, the governorship of Arizona. Carrie Lake's election challenge to Katie Hobbs. Yes. It was a pretty lit trial. All of the YouTube dipshit lawyers that aren't lawyers anymore were sitting on their asses live streaming for 7 hours, barely making a sound or comment, just collecting money. It was fantastic. Rakita Law was there. Fucking, what's his face? That really big fucking fat dude that smokes cigars all the time, but like has stupid opinions and even stupider business decisions. And then that one dude with the fucking crazy hair or whatever. What the hell's his name? I don't remember. I don't know. He's got the little dog. I know his dog's name, Winnie the Westie, but do I remember his name? No. Fry. Viva Fry. Although I wouldn't Viva that dude, because he's fucking Canadian talking about shit in the US, and I'm just like, I can't get behind these fucking foreign pieces of dog shit that want to talk about my country's politics but don't want to talk about their country's politics. Like, stay in your lane, bro. If you live in fucking Malaysia, talk about Malaysia. Don't come over to the United States and try to fucking grift money off of us, you piece of shit. You live in Canada? Then you better be on Canada shit. You're over there with your fucking maple syrup and your motherfucking waffles, and that's it. Don't give a fuck if you got Fatty... I don't give a fuck if you and Fatty Arbuckle are over here talk about some U.S. shit. That's some U.S. shit. Go talk about your own shit. Yeah. I hate it, you know. I don't like these people anymore. I don't like them anymore. Just don't like them. You know, and then they immigrate to the United States, and then they try to act like they're one of us. Bitch, you're not fucking one of us! You're a transplant. You're an other. You know? That's the way we should be treating them. Be all like, get the fuck out of our country. No, but you can't do that anymore, right? You can't do that anymore. Can't do it anymore. No, that's racist. No, we don't even tell that to Mexican people that walk over the thing. No, we're just all like, yo, whoa. Welcome to the United States. You guys want a fucking job? We got picking cotton. We got picking strawberries. We got tons of jobs. Yo, you want to be a fucking janitor? You want to wash some fucking dishes? I got you, Holmes. Here, just take this. This is your I-9 ionization form. You just got to go online and e-verify. Just go online and e-verify. Use this. Like, you know? Why is it always different? Why we let them immigrate one way? Oh, they could just move here. Oh, they bought a house. They could just move here. Yeah. Damn Canadian snow Mexicans coming over here, stealing our jobs. Fucking getting on YouTube, acting like they're still a lawyer and shit, even though they haven't had the bar pass for like 10 years and they haven't practiced law and they barely won any cases. Yeah, fucking A. Love that shit, dude. Love it. But yeah, what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, Carrie Lake's lawsuit. So, I mean, if you watched all of the coverage, I did actually. I was playing some New World. I had it on the other screen and I was listening to it. And I mean, honestly, I just kind of like, I didn't hear anything that was groundbreaking, but at the same time, it seemed like Carrie Lake's team actually had their shit together, and whoever Katie Hobbs was putting up, those people just had no fucking clue what they were doing. And they were like trying really hard to discredit the witnesses with the most insane shit, because they're like, oh, but you didn't see it, did you? And they're like, well, I did see all of the reports that people were making, and most of those reports had like video evidence and or pictures associated with them, so that yes, I could in fact see that they were having that problem. So it was just weird, you know, like it was pretty clear that the people that they brought as witnesses were having to deal with the election issues that were happening with ballots and things. And I mean, probably the biggest piece of Damashanana that came out is that there was an issue with the sizing of the fucking ballots. Like, what? There was a reason that ballots apparently were getting rejected at a very high number in this particular election in particular locales that, I don't know, seem to overwhelmingly vote Republican or whatever. I mean, that's just the evidence that was presented at the case. See, like, this isn't my evidence. This is presented at the case. And here we go. 19 inches versus 20 inches. So if you look at both of these, I mean, if you don't know anything about printing or pieces of paper or whatever, I mean, I know you're going to look at this and you're going to say, that's a 20-inch ballot versus a 19-inch ballot. Which ballot is longer? How come both of them are the same size? If one of them is a 19-inch ballot and one of them is a 20-inch ballot, what's the difference? Is it a 22-inch piece of paper? What is the sizing for it? Is 19 inches, is that the amount of space in between for the actual voting and the other one's longer? I mean, seriously. So, they had two different styles of ballots that seemingly got mixed in randomly, completely randomly, into so many of these functions where it's either a misprint that nobody was able to pick up on because apparently they did not do any quality control or whatever. But yes, there's ballots that you could clearly see that fucking were incorrectly printed. I mean, they look pretty much almost identical down to everything, except for when you look at the top of this ballot right here, you can see that it's got a lot more space, right? So whoever printed this ballot printed it so, like, if you print this in the machine, it's supposed to start reading at this point right here where the mouse pointer is. But the barcode that it reads farther down. You see that? So, like, the machine's gonna get the paper in, it's going to inch forward to where it's supposed to think or know that the line is, and then it's automatically gonna reject it if it doesn't detect anything in the area. And that's what that barcode is. That's why it's in that direction, because the scanner scans that first and says, okay, I have a valid barcode. And then it uses these guys right here to basically kind of go line by line to ultimately space out where exactly it's supposed to be voting. Because if you look at the ballot on this side right here and here where the dots are, you'll notice is that the dots and the ballot line are lined up. That's how the ballot scanning machine is capable of reading the ballot, is because it's not smart, it's not AI or anything like that. It just knows between this dot and this dot, there's something that I need to read. So it reads the first dot on the top, and that lets it know that it's a valid ballot and gives it the basic lookup table, which is, they don't even have that. Usually it's pre-programmed for the ballot, and that one ballot program is loaded onto the machine, and the machine just runs every ballot against this program that was established for it. And all the program says is that at line here, or at line 3, or at line 4, there's supposed to be a dot. At line 5, there's a dot. figure out which one's filled in. You know, which one did you detect a fill on? If you detected a fill on this one, it goes to this one. If you detected a fill on this one, it goes to this one. And it just goes down a whole ballot. So it will never fucking scan if this ballot is incorrectly created. Now, whose fault is this? Well, number one, it would be the people that printed the ballot. And I mean, it's really hard if you're not like a genius or a printer to even notice that there's a fucking problem with a ballot, right? Like, so this is a definitive QA nightmare. But the stranger thing here, which kind of bugs me, is that, you know, people could tell you that it's just a misprinting or whatever. But overall, when you look at the paperwork, the overall ballot itself, like the read pattern on the outside, is different from this one to this one. And it's really hard to tell. It's super hard to tell. But one of the main telltale signs is this little guy right here. Because that little guy right there shouldn't be there. That right there shouldn't be there. What is that? Is that an artifact of some kind? Could this be a photocopy impression? Because the only way that you would even get something like that is if you were to take a ballot that was that size on a very large scanner, place it down, and scan it. Because it looks like this is a scanned copy, and it's just printed the corner of this ballot. So if you look at this ballot right here, and you measure up the distances between down here to the corner right here, they're almost identical. So I don't know. It looks like somebody scanned the ballot, shrunk it down a little bit, and printed it again. That's what it looks like to me. Which is why it's never going to line up. But, you know, it's not a mark. That mark's not supposed to be there. And that mark exists up here too. If you look right there, that's another corner mark. That's the kind of mark that you see when you scan a piece of paper with another piece of paper behind it. Like sometimes you'll get those little tiny corner impressions. Like I've printed a lot of fucking pieces of paper and shit. And that in my brain is the only thing that accounts for the sizing issue that we're seeing, because they would have scanned it and then they would have had to reprint the ballot on the same piece of paper. But every single program that does this would shrink the image. It doesn't print all the way to the edge. It only prints to the print limit on the paper. For every printer, there's a different limit. And to me, it seems almost like the print started here and ended here, because that's where the limit is on a regular traditional printer. This ballot, however, has a much larger printing area because it was printed on a much larger piece of paper and then cut to size like they would normally cut paper for these types of ballots. So you shouldn't see the bleed lines. You shouldn't see any of this stuff unless you were cropping or unless the program itself basically just shrunk it in. And usually when you scan something, you don't get those little artifacts on the outside unless you had something behind it. So it makes sense that they don't know that they were printed. It makes sense that there's issues here, you know, like there's a clear issue that shows, you know, the reasoning behind all of the fucking videos that people were posting that day. I'm pretty sure there was one I saw here, actually.
Been working better.
This is
Which one's working better?
One's as bad as the other.
Yeah.
Look at his ballot. Look at the amount of space between here and here. You see that? Same thing that we were seeing on that other thing. So when he shoves it into the image cast machine, the machine is looking within the first top half of the page for this particular bar line. So when it puts it in, it doesn't connect it to be detected at the current time, which is why it spits out the ballot.
I thought so.
Yeah. Choose your poison. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, doesn't like it already.
Oh,
Doesn't like it already.
Keep pushing, it'll grab it. Yeah.
It'll grab it, it'll scan the whole thing. Nope.
no.
Don't recognize.
Come over here now.
Does that.
It's
Right
never
here.
going to go through, is it?
His just did. Guy in front of you.
Oh, really? It didn't work here and it did there.
No, it worked here the first time.
Probably voted for the wrong person.
Oh, no. That's not the way it works. You can put it in here, it'll be counted tonight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you can't be filming in here.
Oh, which one?
So when you looked at that, you kind of like get the idea that, oh, see how much longer it is from here to here, from here to here. In that video, we see the same thing. So, you know, like the spoiled ballots, these ballots that people are having issues, seems to be a printing error. So can we indict Katie Hobbs and and all those other people over all of this? I think it's a pretty big jump. Like, you know, right now it's looking like the fault of whoever printed the ballots. But, you know, I'm only looking at a piece of fucking paper. Like, if I was holding this in front of my fucking hands and then all of a sudden I realized that this was a fucking copied ballot and that's why it looked like that, it'd be very different. Because you can see right there, right there, right there, and right there. All of those different spaces, it looks like somebody just took a ballot, scanned it, and then print the scan. And then they just did it gray cast, so it minimized the areas, but they didn't even take any time to get rid of the corners, which is perfectly match up with like a regular size ballot. The only thing that has to be done is that you just shrink it a little bit, and that would cause any of those machines to just basically not read it. And I mean, is that evidence of fraud? No, it's just evidence of a real shitty printer. Like they're like, fuck man, we're not going to make it. Here, copy this, and then just print a bunch of these off of the photocopier. It'll fucking work. It'll work. So, you know, maybe there's some kind of microscopic tags or something like that for these printers, but I just don't think that that's like the fucking case. I mean, people talked about that during the 2020 cycle or whatever, and really that type of evidence really never came up. But then again, you know, how hard is it to get that fucking paper? Probably not as hard as you fucking think. Like, there was a guy that was counterfeiting $100 bills. Remember when they brought out the new uncounterfeitable $100 bill? Guess what? He was able to counterfeit those uncounterfeitable $100 bills because he was able to just go to the corner store, get a fucking newspaper, and guess what? The newspaper worked as the same kind of paper that they were utilizing for the chemical change when they did the markers and stuff like that. And then, security devices like a magnetic strip? Easy. We'll just put a little bit of magnetic dust on the inside and that'll get that. They have a little fucking hologram or whatever? Nah, dog. We don't need to worry about that. We'll just print it on some tissue paper and lay the tissue paper over the top of it. Looks exactly the same. You'll never fucking figure it out. So, yeah. I mean, am I going to get into the watermark thing for the ballots? No. I'm glad nobody's brought it up, but the Q people did bring that shit up a while back, and it really never went anywhere, so why am I going to take it anywhere? So I have an article here from an old friend of mine, Mr. Ray Stern, used to work at the Phoenix New Times, but they are fucking failing or whatever big time, so he's also still a reporter over at the Arizona Republic. He once wrote an article about me, calling me a trash-talking pot activist, but I don't work at Fireside anymore and shit, so they like removed the article or whatever, which is fine, I guess. But that's okay. You know, the Fireside boys are having all their own troubles nowadays. So far, most people are saying on the we fucking lie to people for money side of things in life are saying that there wasn't any evidence or there wasn't any good evidence that was released today that proved that Katie Hobbs had anything to do with anything that was happening. You know? Election results showed that Hobbs beat Lake by about 17,000 votes in November 8th's election. Basking in her campaign on the 2020 election theories, Lake's best chances taking office now rested on convincing a judge she was robbed of a rightful victory. And what are they utilizing to say that they were robbed of a rightful victory? Well, it seems that the evidence that was brought into court was pretty standard, I guess. Images and testimonies from people that saw and experienced issues with the balloting systems and videos that showed you day of. Or how about
You've heard
this?
previous testimony. Were you here for Mr. Jarrett's testimony?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you hear Mr. Jarrett testify that in the November 2022 general election, a 20-inch ballot was used?
Yes, sir, I did.
Would a 19-inch ballot image projected on a 20-inch piece of paper used in the election in Maricopa for November 2022 have when it was placed into one of these vote center tabulators?
It would cause it to be rejected.
You've heard previous testimony. Were you here for Mr. Jarrett's testimony?
So, according to Ray Stern, it was a big nothing burger, but in actual court, they presented the evidence that the ballots were printed incorrectly, but nobody seems to have picked up that the incorrectly printed ballots are almost identical to the actually printed ballots, except for the image artifacts associated to the scanning and reprinting of them. So the big question is did they not order enough ballots? Did the company that printed all the ballots print all of the ballots, and then Maricopa County decided to reprint their own ballots by photocopying them and then just running them off of a printer? Like, because that seems like it would create rejected ballots now, wouldn't it? So, like, right now everything's weighing on the issues with the actual machines that were happening that are verifiable, and everybody seems to be talking about what I've just shown you as being the only thing that anybody seems to give a shit about in this entire cycle.
You're not an attorney, correct? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a legal question, but you only have to answer if you have an understanding.
I've been in that
If you don't have an
courtroom, by the way.
understanding, it's perfectly fine to say, I don't know. Are you aware that under Arizona law, a ballot is not actually unlawful if it is, the term that's used sometimes is harvested or ballot collection, but if somebody who is not authorized to handle it deposits it, or like what happened at Runback, if somebody brings it and inserts it into the stream, but not into a designated authorized drop box. Are you aware that under Arizona law that is not actually an unlawful ballot?
I think the term in the law is an invalid ballot.
Okay. Just 1 minute, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
No more questions. Thank you very much, Ms. Sunny.
Okay.
Yeah. Katie Hobbs's people didn't even have the correct vernacular for half of the things that they were trying to talk about. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good for Carrie Lake.
Was completely
oh, here's Viva Fry.
As of mid-afternoon.
There's Viva Fry and Fatty McGee.
Bad.
What's his name? Barnes? Barnes! That's what his name is. Fat Barnes.
Don't follow. If you get smacked in the face, don't say, huh. Let me ask you my second scripted question. I'll allow you to smack me in the face again.
But the evidence that you put forward in your declaration was that only 24 of 223 had long lines.
I'm going to re-ask my dumb question.
That's all I was able to conclude in the time that
Stop talking right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it. Move on.
See the difference between when you're actually trying to get the details, and then you got some fucking retard yelling in the background. It's just not cool.
Are you here for Mr. Jarrett's testimony?
Yes, sir, I was.
That's why they got rejected. Why did they get rejected?
Roughly votes separating the two candidates for governor. Based on what I saw on election day, I would say there's no question in my mind that had there not been tabulator issues at 132 vote centers, this election would have ended up with Carrie Lake winning. I would say, there's only 17,000 roughly votes separating the two candidates for governor. Based on what I saw on election day, I would say there's no question in my mind that had there not been tabulator issues at 132 vote centers, this election would have ended.
Yeah. So that's the main big issue that this whole trial seems to be rolling on, is that There were some ballots that were misprinted somehow. Caused a lot of errors at over 132 voting centers in the entirety of Arizona, which is quite a bit if you really think about it. And it basically created issues where people couldn't get their votes in a timely manner and ultimately felt like their votes didn't get counted at the end of the day. And I mean, that's just the plain brass tacks facts here, to the point where it's almost like they might need to do a redo or something, you know? A redo might be in order. Maybe we make sure that the ballots are printed correctly and just try it again one more time. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Yeah, that's not what Carrie Lake wants, but 132 vote centers, voting polling locations. So let's see. Polling locations in Arizona. Wow. Wow, I wonder how many they have. Let's see. Oh, wait. I should just put in how many. There we go. Let's see. Poll workers. How many precincts are there in Arizona? Oh, wow. Arizona has closed hundreds of polling places since 2013. Polling places. Election date. Where to vote. Yeah, apparently. Here we go. Detailed report for the County of Maricopa's Recorder's Office. That seems pretty good. Election year. 2022. Election type. Consolidated. General. Primary. Primary. General. General. That's what we want. Wow. So 133 polling locations out of 935 complete locations seems to be a pretty sizable chunk. If my math doesn't fail me, that percentage is actually up there over 10%. Seems like 10% of the votes, or seems like the amount of polling locations that had problems could have definitely had to do with some issues that could have been foreseen happening in the election. And I think that that's basically just brass tacks right there, you know? We're looking at the facts here, fools. So the facts are, is there evidence of misconduct? No, but was this a trial of misconduct? No, it was a trial saying that the election itself was ran poorly and gave pretty damning evidence as to the why they said that. Because the ballots were misprinted, and we had hundreds of videos posted of the issues that people were having. So is this really on Katie Hobbs? No. Or the idiots in the news media and the Pine Codes gonna try to talk you into it being a case about misconduct and fraud when it's actually a case of mismanagement? Yeah, I don't think people would know. I don't think people really figured it out yet, but you know, that's the strong and short of this particular thing that we've been looking at. So is Carrie Lake gonna win? I don't know. They're going to have to come up with some more big-time news for tomorrow, for sure. But as it seems right now, like, what's the judge going to do? Is he going to overturn the election? Is he going to make them run another election? I mean, we're just going to have to just wait and see, I guess. We're just going to have to wait and see. Yes, wait and see. So, with that, I think that's pretty good rush of the news for today. It just means that we're having a certification inquiry in Arizona, and it'll be interesting to see what the judge has to say, because it's his job to make a decision on all this stuff. But you know, the stuff that we saw does show that there was issues in the process, and there was a huge breakdown in the process to the point where a lot of Americans, namely Arizonans, were affected. And I think that something should be done about that. So thanks y'all for being here. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening today. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your evenings. Either way, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends, do all that stuff. Stay warm. And we'll maybe see you again on the next one if we don't turn into a popsicle or something. Adios.
on that?